Hello, everyone. My guest today is Simon Gillett. After careers in financial markets and academia, he started to buy and build businesses and to date has had an IRR of 27%. He built sustainable incomes in 8 countries and is now living in Virginia with his wife and daughter. He's English with a dual U.S. and British citizenship. He's an alumni of the University College of London, the University of Edinburgh, and the University of Exeter, along with the University of Cambridge, and is the past recipient of the Engineering and Physical Sciences Research Council Scholarship for Artificial Intelligence. He's now building a company called Gabe, GAIIFF.com. Simon, you ready to take us to the top?
Let's do it, Nathan.
Okay, so what is Gabe doing? What are you working on?
Well, GAIF is short for the Global AI Internet Freedom Fund. So really, we're a micro private equity fund, and we built an API in partnership with our cloud provider to allow Amazon sellers to do demand forecasting, to do pricing analytics. And it's called ATM, actually, as the product of the Global AI Internet Freedom Fund. The fund is a kind of a separate entity, as you can imagine, but we do use this sourcing and diligencing tool called ATM to find and grow our portfolio after investment.
Okay, but to be clear, do you own the reporting and analytics tool as well?
Yeah, absolutely. It's entirely proprietary, yeah.
And this is lead gen for your private equity. If you see someone killing it with the analytics, you write a nice little email and say, we'd love to buy you.
Yeah, I mean, the actual process, does tend to be quite conversational, I think, whether it's email or whether it's a more inbound direct sort of sourcing, but it's a sourcing and diligencing tool, and it uses the same technology as Amazon.com. So that obviously tells you our partnership is pretty strong with the cloud provider, and then we get these extremely warm leads into the fund.
Yep. Now, I understand the research side of things based off your background in history. I don't understand the Amazon side of things. What got you turned on to sort of Amazon businesses?
Well, I've been doing AI for about 20 years. You mentioned the scholarship I got. By the way, it's Edinburgh, but you never ask an Englishman to correct a pronunciation to an American. So forgive me for that. But
forgive me for getting it wrong.
You're good. So I've been doing it for a while, but what's changed in the period that I've been doing it is the move to the cloud. So now, instead of having these big boxes that we used to do AI in when I first started, it's all shifted up to the cloud. So the emphasis is more on the bandwidth rather than the compute. Like, as long as you can write the algorithm, you can shift the compute up to the cloud, and it's way more efficient now. So you can do it with any of the big cloud providers. And we just happen to have chosen AWS. And
so what is the tool that an AWS seller would plug into that you guys own? Like, what's the URL?
Yeah, it's actually on the Amazon sellercentral.com, and you need to already have had an account as a merchant with Amazon.com to be able to sell there. But the tool itself's been approved for any of the global marketplaces in which Amazon operates. I think it's something like 17 now. And so, like, for example, Amazon.com obviously covers the United States marketplace. And if you're a merchant in the United States marketplace, you can use your login for that to access ATM. If you're a Canadian marketplace merchant, then you can use your Amazon.ca login to ATM and to get your forecasting from ATM with the same. So
ATM is the name of your tool, product demand, financial planning, resource planning, but there's not a site for it. You have to access it via Amazon's backend, via a partnership portal or something.
Yeah, it's an API. So we're built on the API, and it's a partnership portal. And you can also access it via our website at gaif.com, GAIIFF.com.
Yeah, where is that? I'm on the site right now. I'm on the ATM page. I don't see like a sign up, or it says for a free funding assessment, register now. Is that the onboarding?
Yep, that's the way. Mm-hmm.
I see. Okay. So once people connect here, then you can start to give them reporting charts to do those 3 things you just mentioned: product planning, research, etc.
Yep. And as you said, Nathan, it's entirely free. So we don't charge for the forecasting. It's simply also a business analytics tool that is a warm lead gen for us.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say, well, you know what they say, when anything is free, you are the product, which in this case, let's talk about sort of how you're understanding the data, right? Do you anonymize all this stuff when someone connects it? How do you treat data that's connected to your platform?
Yeah, I mean, think of it service-based, right? So what rather than productized, I mean, we don't charge SaaS subscriptions like time-bound access payments for ATM. but then we do enable the merchants to get greater analytic insights into the business. So that helps with demand forecasting, and whether it goes into a funding conversation down the road later is a later conversation. But that ability to do financial planning and resource planning with the same forecasting technique that Amazon.com uses does attract quite sophisticated merchants who want to forecast their sales revenue. They want to do, they're business owners, manage expenses and understand the business's performances. And this is entirely free and delivered within 1 day. The training period of the AI and the modeling that happens to take place to split the training data into the models does take some period, but we say that we can deliver that forecast within 1 day.
And Simon, how many merchants have connected?
I can't say entirely because, as I said, we have a partnership, but I'll give you a range if you insist.
Yeah, I insist.
Okay, well, it's somewhere between 50 and 500.
Okay, got it. So between 50 and 500 merchants connected. Is that a representative sample size for you to do some of this modeling you're talking about?
Yeah, well, so the modeling is unique by account, right? So the way that all these works, these reports are entirely unique and customized to each different account. There is no one model. There's a model that's trained based on every single order history, and that financial planning plan is unique to every single merchant. There is no one size fits all to what ATM does.
Okay. And of the 50 to 500 merchants connected, about how much GMV flows through your platform? How much are you analyzing on a yearly basis?
Again, I can only give you a range, but it's in the 9 figures.
Okay, got it. So 100 million to $1 billion, somewhere in that range.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me about where you really make money, which is the actual fund. So much so that in your bio, that's the number you chose to share, which was the 27% IRR. When did you first put your first dollar behind an Amazon business? What year?
Yeah, so the IRR figure comes from track record. It's not to do with the present fund. The present fund is still in its deployment stage. There is no IRR from the fund.
What is the current fund, and when did you raise it?
It closed at the end of last year, December 31st, 2020.
Okay.
And it has a 3-year period. The IRR comes from track record from a previous business that I exited. There's a franchise in the Northern Virginia area, actually headquartered in Loudoun, which I know you know well, Nathan.
My hometown there. Yeah, hometown.
Oh, yeah.
So you closed a new fund in December. How much did you close it for?
I can't say because the LPs, that the fund is not something I can talk about at all, unfortunately.
Okay. In your bio, what you talked about was an IRR. And IRR is, the story you're telling is the story of the fund. Your SaaS product is free. There's nothing to talk about there. The whole model here is get behind and use the fund to get into Amazon businesses. So true or false, you have not actually deployed any of the fund yet. You are not behind, and you have not purchased equity in any Amazon business to date.
Oh, we are. Yeah, we do. We actually monitor several 100,000 SKUs with our cloud, and we have deployed capital. But the history of the 27% IRR comes from a business that I ran previously.
Ignore that. I'm trying to understand how the fund's going to operate. So when you say you're tracking millions of SKUs, that doesn't mean anything in terms of you using your fund dollars that you just closed to get behind a business. So what are you going to do with the fund? What's the thesis?
It's to invest in Amazon merchants. So we're able to use the forecasting to make better investment decisions. That's what ATM does for us.
Yep. So that makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of analogies to this. Circle Up does this in the CPG space. ClearBank does this in the CPG space, SaaS space. We're doing this at FounderPath in the SaaS space. So I totally understand that. Have you actually written any checks yet into Amazon merchants?
Yes.
Okay, got it. How many different merchants have you invested in?
1.
Okay, 1. Got it. Talk to me. That's the biggest deal. That's the hardest step to take, right? Walk me through getting that deal done.
Yeah, in terms of the actual acquisition process, the sales and purchase is very plain vanilla. It goes the typical route that 95% of M&A deals go. There's a letter of intent. There is.
Did you buy it? Did you buy it outright, or you're buying like 5% of the business?
The one we bought is bought outright, but actually what we're looking for is partnerships with merchants that want to grow, and especially merchants that want to grow internationally.
Yep, no, that makes sense. Got it. So you bought this one, and then was there a specific? Can you name the company yet? Is it public?
there is a brand that's called Territory, Terratee.
Say that one more time. Terr.
Terratree.
Got it. And was that a sector you liked? Were you targeting like, a specific kind of product on Amazon, or was just you looked at the metrics, you said, this is a winner, I want to get in?
Yeah, this is absolutely a winner. It does have a lot of industrial supplies in terms of the category of what's being sold for that brand. But we're actually category agnostic. Territory is in the business industrial supplies sector.
Planners like Moleskine, bakery boxes, Post, but within ESG focused sort of deal, right? So it's economically focused, or ecologically focused, I should say, sustainability.
Yeah, there is an element of that is branding. So what we do, we have a team, offshore team that actually is constantly researching and developing what the best way to increment margin growth, to grow incremental margins on Amazon.
How many are on the team and how many are researchers?
We have really one researcher and we have one developer, and we have a small operations team of 2 people.
And you're bootstrapping all this with your past exit money. Is that accurate?
Well, apart from the fund, yeah.
Yeah. Well, how do you make money on the fund? Are you charging 2 and 20?
Yep.
Got it. Okay. And when did you write your first line of code for ATM? What year?
ATM was written mostly Q1 2020. Okay,
got it. So
2020.
Young works. You'll have to come back on in 6 months and tell us about all your other deals, and you'll have the fund announced at that point and everything, right?
The fund is announced, and it's just. I mean, the fund is no longer open to investment.
Well, I'm not. That's not what I'm at. But you told me here you can't talk about the fund at all. So now you're telling me
I can't talk about the fund economics. Yeah.
Well, you just told me 2 and 20. So we touched on it already. Did you announce the size of the fund? The reason I'm asking is because there are Amazon sellers listening right now that might think you're a great fit. But if it's $1 million fund, it's going to attract a different audience than if it's a $100 billion fund.
Yeah, but I mean, at this point, it's a closed fund, and so the marketing for the fund is over.
I'm not trying to get more people to invest in your fund, Simon. I'm trying to understand how much you raised. What was the total size of the fund?
Well, we have an agreement with the LPs that we don't discuss that at this point. No,
don't you have to file documents?
I'll tell you, we set out to raise 20 million.
Okay.
And we closed that easily.
Okay, so you broke 20 million. Got it. So
that's in our SEC
way, if folks are listening that run an Amazon brand like Territory, right, and they're doing $1 million, $2 million revenue, they know that you have the potential, if they connect to ATM and you like their metrics, to actually do a deal with them. That's what I was trying to get to. I'm trying to help you here.
Absolutely, you're a great guy, and you do. I love it. I love your shows, Nathan. The energy you bring is very.
You listen, so you knew what to expect.
Yeah. Good. This is good.
Good. Well, hey, listen, we're rooting for you. You're in a hot space. Obviously, there's big companies like Thrasio and others playing in this Amazon roll-up space. But if you truly have unique proprietary algorithms on the reporting side, maybe you can find gems where they don't see anything.
We've had the discussions. We're aware of those, and absolutely, the CEO and of Thrasio is a connection. But yeah, obviously, we don't share our proprietary algorithm because of the potential for profit that it brings us.
Yeah, no, Josh is a great guy. And again, if you have an algorithm and it works, and I think you would define works by you have build years of history and the company.
I don't think he's the CEO though, is he?
He's a co-founder and co-CEO, I believe. Yeah. Okay. But point being is your algorithm is only valuable if you can, use it for 5 years and then say, look, we saw this early signal. No one else saw it. We acted on it. We put money behind it. And then we just sold it for a big multiple. And hey, LPs, you made a bunch of money. So we'll track it closely, Simon. Come back on in 6 months. And I appreciate you taking us to the top.
Totally cool, Nathan. It's great to chat.
One more thing before you go. We have a brand new show every Thursday at 1 p.m. Central. It's called Shark Tank for SaaS. We call it Deal or Bust. One founder comes on, 3 hungry buyers, they try and do a deal live, and the founder shares back-end dashboards, their expenses, their revenue, ARPU, CAC, LTV, you name it, they share it. And the buyers try and make a deal live. It is fun to watch every Thursday, 1 p.m. Central. Additionally, remember, these recorded founder interviews go live. We release them here on YouTube every day at 2 p.m. Central. To make sure you don't miss any of that, make sure you click the subscribe button below here on YouTube, the big red button, and then click the little bell notification to make sure you get notifications when we do go live. I wouldn't want you to miss breaking news in the SaaS world, whether it's an acquisition, a big fundraise, a big big sale, a big profitability statement, or something else. I don't want you to miss it. Additionally, if you want to take this conversation deeper and further, we have by far the largest private Slack community for B2B SaaS founders. You want to get in there. We've probably talked about your tool if you're running a company, or your firm if you're investing. You can go in there and quickly search and see what people are saying. Sign up for that at nathanlatka.com/Slack. In the meantime, I'm hanging out with you here on YouTube. I'll be in the comments for the next 30 minutes. Feel free to let me know what you thought about this episode. And if you enjoyed it, click the thumbs up. We get a lot of haters that are mad at how aggressive I am on these shows, but I do it so that we can all learn. We have to counter those people. We got to push them away. Click the thumbs up below to counter them, and know that I appreciate your guys' support. All right, I'll be in the comments. See ya.